I'm going to show you why this color here, the color that looks like dirt, can be the most magical color in the palette. Gosh, I've been testing these colors and just really just getting them and mixing them up and seeing what will happen. But this is Raw Umber, and you know, I've never really reached for Raw Umber, and really it just looks like dirt. And literally, I mean, it really just looks like dirt. But, you know, we can take this dirty color and mix it with all different kinds. You know, it's a little not as fun as burnt umber, not as rich as burnt umber, and yet cooler than burnt sienna. They're all PBR7s, but this one, it's got some tricks to it. So I'm going to put this aside, and we are going to mix some colors and get some unexpected results. This is cotty paper, by the way. These are little sheets. I don't know if I found them or not last video, but they're little sheets I got from Jackson's Art. Okay, so I got interrupted, of course, so I'm just going to show you this swatch of Raw Umber again. And it looks like dirt. It's really the color of dirt. So I'm going to just play around with it and figure out why this color is in this palette. Because I've got burnt sienna, PBR7, burnt umber, PBR7, and raw umber, PBR7. And evidently this color will last forever because it is like a permanent, excellent light fast, and it's also the least expensive color, or one of the most inexpensive colors in Daniel Smith's line. Okay, so I've got my paper ready here, and I'll hold this up so you can get a screenshot of it. I don't know if you can read it, but you can try. And it's the color swatch for the Daniel Smith 24 palette. So I've been practicing with these for a few days. I've got some other supplies out here in case I need them. I got some Tombos for writing. I can't write very good with a paintbrush, so I wrote it with Tombos. And I've got some pencils to make my lines. These are the Faber-Castell 6 graphite matte pencils. They're really good. They're really good. But we might write our names of our mixes underneath it. So, all right, let's just get started. So I'm going to start with Raw Umber and Phthalo Blue green shade. And I don't know why. I was trying to make some water, and I knew phthalo blue green shade was good for water, but I was doing a beach scene for night. Okay, I need a little bit more Raw Umber. Took too much phthalo. Okay, this is really pretty. That makes a beautiful green. Oh yeah, it does. Let me just write what I've got there. This is Raw Umber. This is a Platinum Preppy fountain pen, and I took the cartridge out of this because it's water soluble, and I put some carbon cartridges in it. Raw Umber, and the carbon are waterproof. plus phthalo blue green shade. Okay, that's pretty. And I think we can get it down even further, more muted. Oh, yes. Let's see, where should I put this? We'll just put it right next to it. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look how beautiful that makes things. I never knew, never knew. I just don't reach for raw umber. Okay, now let's go with raw umber and sap green. See what that does. There's sap green. And you can tell when I put it on the palette, it's just really bright and yummy. Really spring. Okay, let's put some raw umber in there. And as we go, I might clean these off. You know, stop the video and use them somewhere else, probably. And then come right back to you. Yeah, this is pretty. Ooh, yeah, this is really pretty. This is kind of like an olive green. It just took that yellow kind of right out of it. Okay, now I'm going to do raw umber plus French ultramarine. We'll just see what happens there. And get enough to make sure I can do my swatch and not get too much water in there, because water, sometimes the more water you have in your brush, it will just desaturate and dilute the color. Oh, that makes a really nice gray. Really nice gray. So raw umber is, I'm just going to write that up here, PBR7. So, but so is burnt sienna, so is burnt umber. They're all PBR7s. I think it's the cooking process that causes the differences in color. But that's pretty. All these are muting down into really beautiful earth tones, I think. And that's what I was searching for, to be honest. Okay, here's raw umber. It's kind of, it's just the color of dirt and earth. Okay, let's do that with raw sienna light. That's pretty. I'm gonna get a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. Wish they sold a bigger palette so I could put all 24 of these in one palette. But I think I might have a solution for that. I think I do have a bigger palette. Okay, here is raw umber and raw sienna light. That's pretty. That makes it more like raw sienna. I like that. I like that. I like raw sienna though, but I do like this raw sienna light. Now, I'll put down a little comparison. I've already done a cheat sheet, so I just wanted to show you these. The last two colors are my favorite. So, but I pulled some colors from another palette. Let me show you raw sienna light next to. So see how much lighter that is? It just tones everything down. So, you know, and makes really the perfect boho palette, I think. Okay, let's pull this down so you can see my mixing areas. And I'm going to get Raw Umber and Buff Titanium. Well, you know, Buff Titanium's not my favorite color, but I also pulled a white. So you could see the difference. I'm going to put titanium white over here because Buff Titanium just has a yellow undertone. So let's go with Raw Umber into Buff Titanium. And it just makes it like a gray. I've got a little bug in here. It's like a sand color. So it's okay. It's okay, but I think, I don't know. I think it does help having these written underneath them. It'll help me and it'll help you too. A viewer said that. I think that's a good idea. Sometimes I get in a hurry. Raw Umber and Buff Titanium. And I'll show you too the ink cartridges that I put in this Platinum Preppy. This Platinum Preppy was cheap. And I just like the way it writes so much better than a Micron. And I'll link that too. All right, so let's take that Raw Umber and put it in this white. Well, you know, you about get the same color. So, a little bit less. You could go as far as you wanted with it. Yeah. So I think it doesn't matter on the mix with Raw Umber whether you go Buff Titanium or white, because that looks very similar to that. And I think the opaqueness is going to be the same as well. Got a little bit of a in my throat. Okay, so now I'm going to go Raw Umber and quinacridone burnt orange, which we was working with last week. That's really pretty. That richened it up. I'll put just a little bit more. I think you could get it to like a terracotta color. This is pretty. This makes it a little bit more just a warm brown. Very pretty. And let's see if you took it just a little bit more quinacridone burnt orange. You know, you could shift it as far as you wanted to. So that's really pretty. Let me write that down. So I got one more space here before I clean out, and I'm going to do one more out of here and a couple more. Let's do this one. Let's do, this is a Daniel Smith stick, but you can use it just like watercolor. So this is Nickel Azo Yellow. It is, I think it's PY 150. And it is super bright. Super, super, super bright. And the sticks are watercolor, so you can use them just like watercolor. Actually, on a couple palettes I've had, I have just cut them off and fit into the pan. So they're good. Okay, let's add some raw umber to that and see what happens. Oh my gosh, that kind of reminds me of a green gold. Yeah, I would say that reminds me of a green gold. How versatile is this color? I mean, what can you do with this color? This is exciting. I did a few mixes, like I said. I did a few mixes before I film because I just wanted to know, but a couple of these colors I haven't mixed. I hadn't mixed this. Cool. I like that. That's another variation of green, which is screaming landscape to me. All these colors are. So, gosh, in a travel palette, which pretty soon I'm going to be going over and filling these art toolkits. And I'm thinking Nickel Azo Yellow and Raw Umber must be a must in those. So this is really good information to know before you start filling one of your kits. Let me shut off the camera and clean my palette. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my palette cleaned off, and I've got my little swatch up here, Raw Umber, to show you what I'm mixing everything with. And we did this last one, Raw Umber and Nickel Azo Yellow. You know, as I was thinking, I watch an artist on YouTube, Sandy Hester. I don't know if you guys have seen her or not, but look her up because her artwork is so interesting, and she's got a few videos on her palettes and mixing, and she has Raw Umber on every palette she has. She's mixed media, and she has Raw Umber on her oil palette and her acrylics palette and her watercolor palette. So she says it just dirties everything up. So, and that's kind of what we're going for here. So I'm going to put, let's do another one. Just see, it's just that color of dirt. And I never really reached for it until I really started getting into this palette. And you know, we've been working on this palette for a few, you know, couple, 3 weeks here. And I have noticed that there are some divots, and I had to refill my Perylene green because I used it. I just mixed and mixed and mixed with it. But, you know, and now my raw umber's going down, but my quinacridone burnt orange, it didn't go down very much. And I was going to do a beach scene, and I'm still trying. So watch out for that on a short. I've got it drying over there now. I'm just really not that good at beaches, but the colors are perfect. So, okay, so back on task. Raw umber plus, let's do raw umber with this phthalo green shade. Phthalo green. I'm actually looking, and phthalos are so strong. It's probably why I use so much burnt umber, because I'm mixing it, but that is a beautiful color. So, looky here. Oh gosh. It's a good mixer. And raw umber, that's like a deep forest green. Is it similar to that? No, I think it's brighter. I don't know. It's just good. This raw umber, I'm going to put it on other palettes, I think. Okay, yeah, this writes so much better than a micron. And I'll show you those. Learn this in a workshop. They're just carbon ink refills. And there's four in a pack. And they're like just cheap. I can't tell you how much they are now. All prices have went up, but let's see. Let's go to raw umber. And I'm going to go to an unexpected. I'm going to go to an indigo. I tried 2 different colors. I tried an indigo and a lunar blue. So I'm going to do indigo first. I marked it. I put some in a pan and put it with this. And I get a super good dark. I'm going to put just a little bit more raw umber with it. Yeah, I get a super nice dark. It's almost black. Now, the darker the more concentrated you go. This is kind of a beginner note to beginners. You know, if you use a lot of water, it's going to dry a whole lot lighter. So this might end up, I think it'll be darker than that when it dries, but you know, you always want to have in your arsenal a way to make a good dark, and that's almost black. So, and I did the same with lunar blue, only I put more. This lunar blue is sort of a smoky blue. It's good. Indigo's just got a lot more oomph to it. And here is raw umber and lunar blue. And you can work on your mixes. You can shift it one way or the other. So that's kind of pretty. I don't think I'll use that one. I like lunar blue. And I love Daniel Smith's indigo. Other indigos just have phthalo blue in it, and I'm not crazy about that. I'll hold this up so maybe you can get a screenshot at the end. So see, we've got some really versatile colors here just by mixing with raw umber. So, okay, now on to a few of my favorites. I'm going to do 3. I'm going to do one that I haven't done before, which is the Pyrrole Scarlet. And this is this orangey color. See what that does, because I never reach for that either. So maybe I would if I had raw umber. Okay. It's going to end up being like a burnt sienna. So very good. I mean, if you don't have a burnt sienna, interesting. I think I'd reach for burnt sienna or quinacridone orange, burnt orange, before I'd reach for pyrrole red. Okay, but that's pretty. When I reach for a red, I typically reach for quinacridone rose or quinacridone red. Let's do permanent alizarin crimson. This is a more blue leaning. I was just having a discussion with a viewer last night about alizarin crimson. It's a good color. It is, and it mixes well. We'll see how it does with raw umber. Oh, wow. Isn't that pretty? That is a gorgeous, like, maroon color. That is pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Might change my mind on alizarin crimson. I don't reach for it much. But that's gorgeous. What do you think? Do you guys ever reach for raw umber? You have to let me know in the comments. And when I start watching videos, I hear hype the video. It really helps. I got 1 hype last week, so I was really excited about that. So if you could hype the video, like and subscribe, of course. And give me a like. Had really good conversations in the comments. I was really excited about that. I really like that. These are excellent earth tones. Now, I need to get a good blue in there, but before I do that, I think I can get a better blue with raw umber if I just use a little bit more ultramarine. Let's do ultramarine. I'm going to save my favorite for last, which is that Quin Rose. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Okay, now just a little bit of raw umber. I just want to tone it just a little bit. Yeah, now this makes it more of an earth blue. Now I got that pretty thin. Let me get it more concentrated. raising that pigment off of the pan. I'm just getting enough water just to pull that pigment up. Okay, now let's rinse my brush and go in there and let's dry it and get a little bit of raw umber. Yeah, now this is kind of like a stone blue. I like it. See that? Really pretty. And I'll put a swatch of ultramarine so you can see how much brighter it is. See how much brighter that is? So that raw umber just mutes it. Love this color. Love this color. Okay, now let's do quinacridone rose. Oh, I got a clear spot. No, I don't. I'll use that spot where that indigo is. Okay, so we're going to take quinacridone rose. I'll get that out first so you can see how pinky it is. It's really pink. And if you take a little bit of raw umber, I'm loving this raw umber. I think it's going to be a color that I cannot live without. Kind of like Pearline green. And I got a little bit of raw umber on my, I may have to get some more. Okay, you're going to think that this is like this, but it's really not. Let me get a test sheet here. Well, maybe I got a little bit too much. Oh, I still need more. Oh, I still need more. I think here we go. Still need a little bit more. Still need a little, there we go. Here we go. Dusty rose is what I'm going for. So you see where I started with too much quinacridone rose, and then I went into too much raw umber, and now this down here is a really pretty dusty rose. So that's what I was going for. I think that that is a really pretty color, and I think you gotta practice, you know. I think you just gotta get into your paints and just really start mixing and practice, and don't be so precious about it, because I could do this kind of stuff all day long and I don't have to call myself an artist, but I kind of am. My people I know call me an artist, but you know, I like to feel the piece when I come out here and swatch and mix, and I like nice vibrant colors like Daniel Smith. So here I went more blue. Up here I went more raw umber. So this one got grayed out quite a bit. I'll try to remember to Now look at all those luscious colors on my palette. Yum, yum. Okay, so like I said, I did a swatch sheet earlier. I did some little test tiny paintings earlier. And with some of these colors, that looks like that. You know, you just got a lot of possibilities here. And I think, here's one I did with that Quin Rose and Raw Umber. And I think that is like a dusty rose. So I'm liking these. I'm liking these a lot. So let me know what you think in the comments. Have you already known about Raw Umber and all of its yummy things it can make? Because this is a very boho earth palette, I think. And I love it. So, and another thing, go watch Sandy Hester and her palette. I'm going to watch her again because I think that she's got some good, her paintings are so interesting. She really has it down on value and color mixing. So she's another good one to watch. So I'm really loving this. She does more acrylics though. And she does some gouache and some watercolor. But she mainly does acrylics. So let me know. What do you think? So I wrote all this down. I hope that you can see it. Take a screenshot, zoom in, and I will see you next time. Talk to you later. Give me a hype. Bye.